If you can't learn to run with the pack, one of these days you'll be someone's dinner.
Here is our review of The Jungle Book. So, guys, we just saw The Jungle Book at the Mall of America Theaters of America. We saw it in 3D. And why don't we just go around the table and say, up front, would you recommend this movie based on what you saw? We can start on this end.
Yes, I would.
You would recommend the movie?
I enjoyed the movie.
Very good.
I would recommend it.
I would also recommend it. I would describe it off the top as magical.
Magical, okay. I'd recommend seeing it. I think the questions will be whether or not you'd see it with kids and whether or not you'd see it in 3D, but we can talk about that more later. Matthew?
Yeah. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find anybody that would not recommend this movie, actually. That's
I think it sits at 100% on Rotten Tomatoes and like 70-something on Metacritic right now.
Yeah, no.
Jed?
I mean, I want to be a hard-pressed person to find, so I'd still recommend it, actually, yeah.
Would you have paid to see this movie? You didn't have to pay to see it. None of us had to pay to see it this time, but...
Never would.
No, I don't think I would pay to see it.
Yeah, because it seems like a kid's movie on the outset and from the marketing.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably the biggest part of it, and then just the whole talking animal thing is hard for me to get over.
Well, and let's talk about the technology of this movie. There's definitely an aspect of, you're looking at talking animals, and I believed the animals could talk. I believed they were in the universe. I didn't see an uncanny valley, but did anyone else?
I would agree with that. And the animals didn't take me out too much because I feel like the craft of CGI creations in movies has gotten to the point where it's just like a race to get as realistic as possible. And now it's like they're adding in a little more finesse. And I thought that they looked extremely realistic, but there's also room for stylization and like extra character. And I think that was probably my highlight of the movie was how good I thought those animals looked and everything.
Yeah, okay. And 3D aspects. Did anyone... we should be upfront here and say that our theater, as they told Judd, how did they characterize it, Judd?
The best they could do with the technology they had in that particular theater
was to... So from what I could see, it looked like there was a ghosted image to one side or the other, or my eyes wouldn't link up when I was trying to look at the 3D, and I assume that's a calibration.
I think everyone experienced that.
And I think we all moved, except Judd, you were right up front, so it's probably the worst for you.
Right.
Yeah.
I stayed up front too, and it's like the first layer. It was beautiful. It looked like actual 3D, well placed in there. I was like, this is impressive. But everything beyond that was like doubling up and just ghosting. Had to close my eyes.
Yeah, the technical errors basically made the movie unwatchable unless you went to the back. So,
Could you tell, did you remember any of the shots that were specifically designed for 3D, or, like, we're racing down a line right here with an animal, like this is clearly meant to be 3D?
There's some water on the camera and stuff that was...
I wrote that down too. There was water and dirt on the camera, and I was wondering, why did they do that? I guess it's for the 3D. But so we liked the technology of the movie. It didn't take us out. Well, Judd, you're the one who doesn't like to see talking animal movies, so...
well, what have you got against talking animals?
What'd Mickey do to you?
Why are you a speciesist?
Yeah, that's it. I guess because they've gotten so realistic, my question is how realistic can animals look before it's not okay for them to be speaking English?
Yeah, I did try to line in this movie. It is like a photorealistic... I think it worked, but it was like a photorealistic tiger talking and emoting, and it was like a weird bounce. I could see that not working because it is getting close to weird. Yeah.
I read that Jon Favreau tried to keep the camera off the animal that was talking as much as possible, or they were in like a long shot. And so like I could hear Ben Kingsley's voice when he was in extreme long shot kind of going, across the screen with Mowgli, but I didn't see his mouth moving. And at the start of the movie, that's the first thing I looked at is how is each animal's mouth moving, like from the snakes to the bunnies to the four-legged beasts of all kinds. Looking at the performances, guys, who stuck out? Who did you like? As whose voice did you recognize? I know some of you didn't recognize voices right off the bat.
Yeah.
Ben Kingsley.
Should we not spoil that maybe? Because that was part of the fun for me. Is like, who is this person? I know that person, but I can't pin it.
Okay, I read everyone's name going in, so like I knew because I wanted to be able to go, hey, that's this person singing this song, or that's this person singing this song, without getting Could we talk about the characters maybe without giving away the names? Because for me,
Yeah.
Baloo, the actor
Yeah.
playing Baloo, was that recognizable to everybody?
Yes, and it's
That was
perfect
great.
casting, I think. I don't know,
Excellent.
in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It felt like that actor, who's SNL alum. Sorry to give that away. Was he? That was. I can't imagine anyone else playing a talking bear now.
Yeah, I
because of
actually
that.
thought, did he play it in the 60s, the old version? Because
No.
he should. Yeah, but obviously.
No, he didn't play it in the 1967
It
version.
was like Phil Harris or something like that.
Okay. Any of the other animals stick out to you? I thought the monkey scene was really
Yeah,
good.
King Louis, that was
Louis
very
was
good.
amazing. I love King Louis.
And you guys didn't know who that was as soon as he started talking?
No, I knew who that was. And
Okay.
I was happy about it. I'm like, wait a minute. He did that thing with his voice. I know who that is.
I think I've heard an impression of that guy singing that song like 5 or 6 years before this movie came out. So that was good. And I'm glad they kept the songs in. How did you guys feel towards the way they used some of the classic songs in the movie?
Well, before going into the movie, I said, I'm going to despise this movie if they don't put in two things. And it was the two songs that they actually put in. And I wasn't particularly fond about the way it looked, like how people were sort of stationary during the song, because like during the animated ones, they're always jumping around, going places. But
Yeah. I don't think that the renditions of the songs were necessarily better than the original versions, but I thought the takes on them were, interesting and fun.
it
So,
made me feel nostalgic.
yeah.
Well, they were trying to make them more organic to the
Yeah.
movie, it felt. Because I went into this movie going, oh my God, are they making the Les Mis of Jungle Book movies? Where
It's
like,
all live.
it's all live and we're just going to go into like a strict musical number with
Yeah.
like everyone, Jean Valjean at the screen yelling.
I think like the balance of music in this was, I think they really hit the right note. Like if it was too
No pun
much,
intended.
yeah. If it was more, it would have been too much. But I think they hit the sweet spot.
On the topic of pacing, I was from the very beginning of the movie, I was thinking, wow, they started this off with running, and that's how I knew I had to change seats. But I was already like, whoa, what's going on? And I thought the pacing was great. And one of our other hosts texted me after the movie to go, like, he thought that was a great action movie. And he's not a cartoon movie person. Good action movie.
Yeah, because we talked about the performances, but I think Mowgli, he's the main character. And I
Yeah.
thought his physical performance in this movie was really good. Yeah.
Neil Sethi
Okay.
is his name.
Star on the rise, I'm sure.
Neil, he's done a short movie and this, and the other movie was like Diwali or something.
You're talking about his physical performance. What do you think of his actual performance?
Well, I didn't care for his acting
kid?
particularly.
Oh, you didn't like the kid?
I actually didn't.
Oh,
I'm
sweet.
sorry.
No, that's okay. Because
no.
a couple of us were talking. We thought like, man, that's a great kid actor. He wasn't annoying.
way.
Said all the lines.
I didn't
He
care
was
for it.
awful.
It
You,
is-
you
He
think?
was awful.
Why do you guys think he was
I
awful?
actually thought his line delivery.
Okay,
was
so I
like-
think this is definitely like a taste thing, because like you're either gonna think it's fine and not even notice it, or be going, oh, this kid. 'cause-
No, it is true though. Like if you look at his line delivery and you go to like Anakin Skywalker in Episode 1, they're basically doing the same line delivery
Well,
style.
they're 7 or 6-year-old kids.
I know.
Well, it's true, and it's not really fair. I feel like to compare like some of these incredible Class A actors we've got doing the voices with him.
Well,
I
you
think he
gotta
did a
remember
fine
this
job.
kid didn't really have that many people to interact with while he's
He's
delivering
looking
these
at
lines.
tennis balls
He's
the whole
talking
time.
at tennis balls.
For reference, Judd and Paulo, what are good kid performances you've seen in the past, like let's say 5 years?
I've got one actually.
Okay.
Moonrise Kingdom. I don't actually know exactly how old those kids are. They're probably a little bit older, and maybe that counts for it. But I think the kid acting that Wes Anderson movie Moonrise Kingdom was really stellar.
I can see that. That is a specifically quirky performance.
It's
though,
true,
wouldn't you
yeah.
say? Versus
Yeah.
like this, where it's very naturalistic. Wes Anderson has these very stilted kind of not robotic, but like.
It's a style. That's how you use it. I mean, I in a perfect world, the kids acting would be like kind of tuned to my taste, but it didn't ruin the movie or even make it bad for me.
It was watchable still. 'cause it was action-packed.
It's fine. It's well written and everything, I think.
Judd, any child actors you can think of that you
Not really. I have a topic switch, if that's okay.
go ahead?
What was really interesting is I had seen the original version as a kid so many times, but watching this one as an adult, First of all, I cannot believe like how in a weird way these stories are kind of traumatizing. There's murder and death. This guy had Mowgli had two dads killed by the same guy,
yeah.
Tiger.
Yeah.
So there's that, just like there's something, I guess I remember being traumatized in a weird way as a kid, not getting it, but knowing it was very serious. The other thing that was interesting is, I don't know if you guys felt this, but when I watched the movie and saw the story again as an adult, I felt like there was some really deep like meaning to this story. When he gets the fire, it's like he's got this sense of vengeance that only humans have that can be so destructive. Something where it's like, you know, humans were connected to the earth the same way that animals are, but when we get crazy with vengeance, it's bad.
In the same vein, though, animals don't have society, but they do in the Jungle Book, because one of the things they go through is their mantra of, you know, this is what you have to do to be a good wolf. And I believe that's from Rudyard Kipling's original works. And when he originally, you know, put these out at the end of the 19th century, I think it was 93 and 94, 1893 and 94, not, you know, last millennia. They were thought to be political allegories to some degree, like different parts of society, like the higher predators represented richer people and how they could prey upon the, you know, lower classes. But then as a society, they were coming together at the watering hole. Or is it Peace Rock? What are they called in this movie?
Yeah, Peace Rock. It sounds like kind of a hippie thing.
Peace, man.
1967 Disney movie. On the topic of death, though, like, I think that I was introduced to my own mortality either through church or cartoon Disney movies. Is that?
Yeah, it's one of the two.
Yeah.
Tomato.
If not at the same time, like this, when I turned 3, it was like, wait, I'm gonna die someday because people do in Disney movies.
So speaking of the 67 version, which version did you guys like more?
Should we go down the line?
Yeah.
I don't even remember the 67 version. I just remember the songs because I played them on the ukulele. But,
So does that mean you like the new one more?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of don't remember the old one as much either. I like this one a lot, so I'll go with this one.
I would go with the old one because I watched it last night and sang the songs to my romantic partner, Leanna, and she thought I did a great job. So I'm going with the old one.
Yeah, I think the old one has more charm. It's a lot shorter too. And
By about 20 minutes.
yeah. I don't think the actual Jungle Book story has like. I mean, I know you were saying that it has good stuff, but like I don't think it has like a lot of forward momentum. Like it's got a good villain, but there's something about it. And I like the ending of the original one a lot more than this ending.
What was the difference in the ending? Because, yeah, I had Paris had pointed out some other things that we missed, but what was the difference between the endings without spoiling the ending for a book that's over 115 years
Basically,
old?
the climax is very different, and there's like a scene in the original cartoon that just doesn't happen in this one. Maybe they're saving it for the sequel because this movie's kind of like, I think they're setting up a sequel.
They are already, like, before the movie has premiered, it's made $30 million overseas already, but it hasn't been released. It's tracking, and this is Tuesday, April, what's the date today? 12th. It's tracking for about 60 to 70 million this weekend, but that number could go up with the amount of positive reviews and good word of mouth.
Yeah,
Including this one, 4 out of 5.
Yeah, including the 4 out of 5 review.
No, I think
right now.
I would like this new one more if maybe the performances were a little better, and I don't know, it's really good.
What do you mean better when you say the performances?
Well, because what he was saying about like the kid's performance not quite working, and I think he's right because like the moments that I felt disengaged with the movie were the moments where like it required the kid to be a really good actor, like. Blue telling him to leave and all that stuff.
See, I thought like it really touched me when they when they had images of like Baloo and the kid just sitting there like
those worked fine.
That
was
image
great.
is like
Those were great.
makes
Yeah.
me love everyone there. So the kid
Yeah.
by extension.
I'm
is
just
a
talking
great
about
actor.
the specific scene when he's like telling him to leave.
And his emoting, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't feel that, but I totally get like that's why the kid is going to be a point of contention for a lot of people
Yeah,
because
like-
I think parents will see this and be like, I hate that kid.
Like I disengaged with the movie until they got to King Louie, and then I was back in it. So
Speaking of kids, is this a movie where you think people should take
Wait,
their
we didn't
kids?
ask him if
Oh.
he like the original more.
He says, speaking of kids, and you point to me.
No, you didn't say if you like the
Kids.
original version more or this one.
Oh, yeah, I'll say this one. Go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, I was just gonna say, in terms of taking kids to see this, because we talked about the death, and I actually think that's great. Like, I like that being in a kids movie. I mean, maybe it's because I watched kids movies with death in them when I was younger, and I feel like I'm okay.
I feel better about it when I get older because it's like, thank you for being honest to me about this ugly, reality of life.
So I would recommend kids take them all.
Yeah.
Take all 10 of them.
Scare
Little
the.
Brady
I was
Bunch.
sort of offended that they didn't kill.
Does the killed though in the books
I
or?
just feel like they would do that in general.
That's just a Disney
It's
thing.
like in
right?
Bambi, has to die.
Quentin Tarantino didn't direct it.
Well, Academy Award winner Lupita Nyong'o was playing the female wolf, and I'm sure she's contracted for 2 movies at least. So,
Look forward to the Jungle Book cinematic universe, I suppose.
Yeah, the Jungle Book cinematic universe, and realizing that there's going to be a competing version of this movie coming out in 2 years with, I think it's coming
Warner
from
Brothers.
Yeah, it's Warner Brothers and Andy Serkis, the Gollum / ape from Planet of the Apes, is both starring in and directing that movie.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Ben
so-
Affleck also
It's
resumed
Marvel
a
and
role
DC.
that was played by the kid.
Ben Affleck's going to play the. Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
I don't think so, but maybe with Andy Serkis CGI and how far they've been able to bring technology, it's possible. So, is there anyone who, I have a 3-year-old niece. I'd totally let her watch this movie because to me, there's no difference between this and, say, Rango or something, or another animated kids movie where there's a lot of intense moments.
Yeah, unless the kid's super sensitive, I think they'd probably come away from this movie feeling empowered.
Yeah, but I wouldn't pay money for them to see it or for me to see it. That's
Yeah, it'd probably, if you had a big family, I would wait to buy this on a very good, crisp Blu-ray and watch it at home over and over because the images without the 3D mistake that we saw are fantastic.
and for me, I would just get it from Redbox and then be
Watch
over
it
and done
once.
with it.
Yeah,
Crisp red box.
The crispest.
crisp Redbox,
So
just
crisp.
It's assuming Redbox is going to be around when this comes out on DVD.
good, a solid point, Matthew. A solid point.
Thank you.
Quick mentions for some of the cameos. Can I at least reveal that Gary Shandling, who recently passed away, was in this?
I have to say yes.
No, you can't.
Okay, well, sorry guys, but
We're gonna have to bleep that.
he only had one part where when they were at Peace Rock, he was the little some kind of rodent that was running around going my rock, my rock, my
And the
rock.
porcupine.
As a porcupine, you're
It's,
right.
it's okay.
love
Porcupines.
that.
Yeah.
Are porcupines in the rodent family?
Yeah.
Now that's an important question.
Very good.
Judd would know.
So overall, though, we're recommending the movie, but no one here. I probably would have paid to see this movie. I can go out and say that. I'd probably have paid to see it once in theaters.
Yeah, I probably would have seen it.
Yeah, on a $5 Tuesday, maybe.
Me too.
Yeah, good $5 Tuesday movie.
But with the lounging seats. And
Debate whether or not you bring the kids. And the other thing that's kind of before we wrap up here is Zootopia came out just last month, and I feel like this movie and Zootopia are doing very similar things. This is dealing with a more primitive version of society, whereas Zootopia is dealing with a very elegant kind of technologically savvy society. But ultimately, it's Disney movies with talking animals teaching kids about civics
Yep.
in an abstract way.
It's very true.
What's Disney's progressive propaganda game here?
They want us to be inclusive and everybody stick together as a group or something. I don't know.
so they
Rise
want
up
Bernie
against
Sanders to win.
Sure.
politics. Sure.
Well, actually, I mean, if we wanted to, Judd, you did touch on that. You think there's deeper themes to the movie. There were some religious and political things that stuck out to me. The first of the political ones being when the Panther says, "I wish they'd fought Shere Khan, but that's not the kind of movie this is." He was saying, it's kind of like he was saying, I wish this was a movie where people warred and they fought, but that's not what kind of movie this is. This is about living peacefully with other animals, maybe.
Yep. There was a rule by fear thing with Shere Khan where he wanted to take over the group and do so by making everyone afraid of him. That I think that was a theme with Mowgli overcoming that fear. Right?
Yeah, the cuckoo bird thing seemed like xenophobic too when he was saying when he had all of the wolf cubs.
Yeah.
And he was saying like, oh, cuckoo birds put their I was actually wondering because I don't watch Discovery Channel enough. Do cuckoo birds
They do.
take eggs? They put them and they get.
That is
And
correct.
do the actual offspring of the mother that is hosting his cuckoo bird egg? Do their children usually die?
Usually, what happens is the cuckoo hatches first, and then it pushes the other eggs out of the nest, and then they explode.
Because it's bigger.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess Shere Khan was right, but that's not the xenophobic message we want to take from him.
Yeah.
As far as the religious thing, I hadn't noticed in any previous incarnation of the Jungle Book stories where they were reverent to the elephants. I thought that might be something like giving some, this is a movie that takes place in India. It's primarily, it's from, I believe Rudyard Kipling was of Indian descent. And, parts of that religion parts of the religion in India worship elephants. Vishnu is an elephant god. Is that correct?
I think so. That sounds
Okay,
right.
I'm not a Hindu, so I apologize if I get anything wrong. But I thought it was interesting that they decided that one species of the animal could be, above the other ones, because they said something to the effect of like, the elephants created all of this except for you, Mowgli.
Yeah, that was interesting.
And it seemed to be because the Black Panther didn't, and I'm sorry I can't remember his name, Bagheera.
Yeah, Bagheera.
Bagheera, because Bagheera didn't know how the world was created. He had learned or been taught somehow that elephants created the forest with their tusks and created the rivers somehow. Because he says all that, and that struck me as, why are they, showing reverence to the elephants right now?
Yeah, it is interesting that they put that one animal above everyone. They kind of created a mythology there. And I think that the primates had their own kind of social structure too, their own culture, and then the wolves, obviously. I think there was a theme of the movie was trying to create like a specific universe for this animal kingdom.
The monkeys seemed like gangsters to me. Like that seemed like very The Godfather when he walks in and like, King Louis is.
It's actually, I'm pretty sure it's just like a direct parody of Apocalypse Now, Colonel Kurtz.
Okay.
I think that's what they were going for. Like his lines are very reminiscent of Brando's.
Cool. I like that. So anything else, guys, before we wrap up here?
I mean, I really enjoyed the snake. That was one of my favorite aspects of the whole film.
Okay, yeah, and I was annoyed that Ka was only in one scene. I kind of feel like...
Want more snake?
I wanted more snake. I feel like Scarlett Johansson got shortchanged. On the topic of the snake, though, do we all recall the obvious drug metaphors in the 1967 cartoon Child's movie where, like, Ka makes Mowgli... hypnotized and his eyes get all funny.
Yeah, I was hitting the peace rock there, I think. It's good stuff.
The peace rock, yes. And the only other thing that I noticed that wasn't in this movie other than the ending, which I didn't have as concrete in my head, was that Baloo didn't try to pretend to be a human. And it wouldn't have worked.
No.
I totally know it wouldn't have worked. But
Trying to be that monkey.
as soon as he walked in, I was like, is he going to try to be a human? Because he can't be. There's no way anyone would believe that in this scene.
I don't think he was trying to be a human in the original. I think he was trying to be one of the monkeys, but it's
Oh,
the same thing.
well, thank you. He should have tried to be a monkey still, I think. Like,
That would have been funny, but I think the way they did it in this one, I think it worked.
It would, yeah. I don't know how the guy who directed Iron Man could have gotten this, former SNL cast member there to
have like coconuts.
have coconuts for his mouth then. Very good. Well, boys, I think we should end on that unless we've got anything else. Thank you for joining us again for
Ratings,
another
do we
review.
have ratings?
What ratings?
Yeah.
We want to give a rating scale? Okay. You can use whatever grading system you want. We'll go right down the line.
All right. Well, Paulo, if you had to rate this as an animal from an animal kingdom, what animal would you rate this as?
I would rate this as a soaring eagle with just a little bit of a cold.
Okay, very good. Do you want to ask me for?
Yes, I want to ask you a colorful ratings question.
Okay.
If you were to describe this movie as a type of building material, what would you describe this movie as?
Plastic. This movie is definitely plastic because I've been watching movies for a while, so I know that an animal can't talk. I know that plastic isn't found in the earth somewhere, but I think you can do good things with plastic.
Okay, I like that.
If you had to ascribe a deity to this movie, Matthew, what deity would you ascribe to this movie? And just be careful to not offend anyone's religion out there, and I'm including Pastafarians.
Yeah, I'll say Zeus because that's the first thing that came to my head.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This movie is like a classic thing that everybody knows about, but it's like a fast moving lightning bolt of an old idea, but it's new and it's electric. Sure.
Nice.
All right. If this movie were a classic novel that's not The Jungle Book, what classic novel would it be?
I would say Animal Farm, just because it has talking animals, and I thought it had a deeper philosophical message.
Wrap us up to Daniel, my friend.
Daniel, if this movie were a food that's not healthy for you to eat, what would it be?
Well, I would have to say it would be a White Castle slider. Because it just makes it feel so good, but the 3D makes you feel sick.
Ooh.
Thank you again for joining us, and we'll hope to be back soon with another movie review.